Get ready, we're on. Good morning, Kristine.
Good morning, Kimberly.
So, I've noticed we've had a theme lately about this parenting paradigm that we're in and how we're a lot of parents are like searching for like what kind of parenting style is their parenting style and these rules that go with them and how to follow the rules, and it's just not working. So I want to ask you about that. Why is it that?
Such a good question. And I think it's probably one of the most important questions at this time in our history to be looking at parenting styles and looking at how I just got goosebumps. Look at that.
I did too.
Oof. Oh, and how like each generation, I get it too. Each generation, we parent from this particular style. So you could have like an authoritative style. And then generally what happens is the next generation, the pendulum swings to maybe a little bit more permissive. And then we swing back to the authoritative and swing back to this permissive. And we got to look at reality. Why is this happening? Because it happens all the time. So if we could stop arguing with the fact that the pendulum swings, stop blaming each other for what's working and what's not, and just pause for a minute and go, huh, maybe neither one actually works. Maybe there's something in the middle that works better. Because what I know to be true with reality is parenting from either side of those is hard. And there's elements in those two styles of parenting that are really dismissive of ourselves as a human being, a parent, and how we feel, and dismissive of who our child is and their specific personality. And I really believe what today, because technology is happening so fast, the world is shifting really fast. It's not that evolution hasn't happened and that change hasn't happened before, but the pace that it's changing right now is faster than ever before. So, what do we need? How do we need to parent differently today? I think we have to pause and breathe and get really centered in the moment. Acknowledge that we're tired as parents. We have a lot to do. We have more
Hmm.
stress and more worry. So, what's the healing component in this moment for our families? Connection, more than anything else. We have a loneliness epidemic more than ever before. The number one thing that we need is connection. It's the number one thing we were born for, the number one thing we want more than anything. It's the number one thing that most of us don't know how to do. We
Right.
read all these different manuals, right? And then most parents try it. And then what happens?
It doesn't work.
Mm-mm. Or it's
And I think,
exhausting.
yeah,
Hmm.
it is exhausting because you're trying to do something that's maybe not in alignment with your values. And I think that's somewhere when we're pausing that we probably have to really start naming what is my value as a parent? Like, how do I want to be in relationship with the people in my home? And then from there, from that question, we can start moving forward in a different direction. That's not one way or the other. Because, I mean, you look at nature all over, and like extremes are just not, they don't work, not for the long term. They may work for a little bit, but when we keep doing that pendulum swing that you're talking about, it gets exhausting
Hmm.
and it's just not working because it's not something that's being centered.
I love how you're naming nature. At the end of the day, nature is about expand and collapse. Your heart expands and collapses. There is that aspect of nature, right? So even for you and I, our heart is beating all day long, but you're not thinking about it. You're not going, oh, it just collapsed. Oh, it just does. So what we want to get to is the rhythm of that that's in the middle
Mm.
of
Mm-hmm.
that, right? Because that's
Mm-hmm.
true nature. We expand, we collapse, but the rhythm of what keeps us alive, of what keeps us flowing, is the rhythm in between.
Mm-hmm.
And that rhythm in between is what I think so many of us are missing because we're sort of conditioned to expand or collapse, to go one way or the other, right or wrong. And it's not who we're meant to be. And we know it doesn't work because we just look at the reality of what we're struggling.
Right. And
And I
we
think, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, we've been working on a book that is now available on our website. It's an ebook. It's called Before You Lose It, and it's naming these specific problems that or moments that every parent experiences. I know I've experienced every single one in those chapters, but the 10 most uh, experienced moments in parenting that create this tension and this disconnect with our children and move us away and into the swing.
Mhm. And what we're trying to look at is we have common issues in our families, right? Like screen time. We get really hard pushback with our kids around screens, but we do it too, by the way. Us adults do it too. And then we keep saying the same thing over and over and over to our kids. We keep repeating these labels of what's wrong with our children. And at the end of the day, you can keep repeating it all day long. What I know to be true is you repeating that label isn't changing the situation. You still meeting the behavior with what somebody told you to do that's not changing the behavior isn't changing the situation.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we pause and maybe look at this a little bit different and going back to nature? If we could trust nature, which is what we write from, we could trust nature and how we were born and we meet each other in the middle right here. What if we could actually change it in the way and meet our children in the way they were actually meant to be met?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're constantly parenting from an old pattern that was either given to us or something that we are trying to avoid at all cost. Um, and I know for me, like there's this one chapter in the book. It's called When You Are Torn Between Love and Discipline, right? And so there was this moment for me, and I was actually doing a reel on it. I haven't edited it, so it's not posted. But this moment for me and my son, I got a call from his school, and they said that he got in trouble for bullying. And bullying in my family is like a big no no. Like, we do not make people feel bad. So that
Hmm.
triggered me. I was like, oh my God, this kid is going to be grounded for life. I went right into discipline, like, oh, but thank God there was a little time between when I got that phone call and when he got off the school bus, because I asked myself, how do I want him to walk away feeling? And what came to me, and it didn't come right away, I really had to sit with it, was that I want him to feel like he can make better decisions. And so if I go into this and just say, I'm taking away everything, you're grounded for life, um,
Hmm.
I knew that wasn't going to work. But that's what I was taught, is that you have to ground, you have to punish right away to get the lesson in. So he came off the school bus and we had the conversation about what happened. And he looks up at me and he's like, so what are you going to take away from me? I said, I'm not. I was like, I'm going to trust you that you know how to make better decisions in the future. And I know you can do that. And this kid, like, I've never seen this look in this kid. He got up from that table and he was like a different person. He had this confidence in him, like, oh, like, my mom trusts me. And
Hmm.
with that, I also said, but, if this happens again, we are going to have consequences. And
Hmm.
so the very next day, I get another phone call from the school and it happened again.
Yeah.
And he got off that bus and we had the conversation again. And I was like, and now I have to punish you. And he's like, yeah, I know. I made a really bad decision. And like took his punishment with grace because
Hmm.
he knew it was coming and he knew
Hmm.
he made the bad decision. But
What's
like
driving that decision for him? I'm curious. Like, did you guys talk it through at all and be like, so what's actually going on?
we did. And I don't think we ever really got to the root of why he was doing that. But I know there was like some influences of other peers
Hmm.
that, and I'm not trying to blame them, but there was influences of other peers. And it was just like, if these peers are doing things that don't feel right, it's up to you to make a better choice to say no and to walk away from that.
Right.
So it was just really hard because these peers are his friends, the people that he wants to be cool with, he wants to belong with.
Right.
So I really do feel like it was like I'm trying to fit in kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Um, so, you know, and you live and learn. But the whole thing
Yeah.
was is like I could have sat there and beat myself up at the end of the day thinking like I made a bad decision by not punishing him in the first place. But it wasn't. It was him walking away from that table that first time. That was the lesson. The trust
Yeah.
that he got him in himself and in me, that was the lesson that he needed.
You're right.
Yeah.
And look, at the end of the day, we all want to fit in. I mean, I'm almost 60 years old, and one of the things that I look at all the time is like, I just want more friends. I want that group. I want to go to there. Oh, and like, I want that outfit because that's really pretty. And I want to go shopping with you girls. Like,
Mm.
it never changes. We
Mm.
always want to feel like we belong. I don't care who we are, how old we are. And to me, this is like the greatest opportunity to meet your child in these things that we look at as these mistakes that have to have punishment. It's like, bring your mistake home to me. Bring it to me. I want to meet you in your mistake. I want to talk about your mistake. And here's what I know to be true. You're going to make another one tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I still got you. And we're still going to talk about it. There are always going to be consequences. Why? Because there are. It reminds me of like you and I parent very differently because we come from very different parenting backgrounds and on my pendulum swung hard. Like I was raised in a home that I felt very, very controlled. There was not a lot of nurturing, not a lot of emotion. I was punished a lot as a kid. So I didn't experience a lot of the things that my friends experienced. We used to call my house cell 9. And I've done a lot of work. But my pendulum swung with my kids where like I can be hyper vigilant about really just wanting my kids to like be okay, like and feel so loved. I never want them to not feel loved. I just always want them to feel so loved. And Ryder, my son, who's 16, had asked to go to a concert. Like, so how are your grades? He goes, they're really good. I'm like, oh, great. Your grades are good. He's like, yeah, they are. I'm like, I'll buy you that. I'm gonna get you the ticket to that. 2 days before the concert, we find out his grades aren't that good. He's got like 14 missing assignments. Something that he does, by the way. And I was like, and I felt this like son of a bitch, mother. And I was so mad. And I'm like, what the actual? What the actual? Like, dude, what did you do? Why would you lie to me? So
Mm.
Mom, I don't know why I do that. And I don't want to disappoint you. And the rage that I started to feel is really interesting. When I pause and sit with the rage, it's not about him. It's about me. I'm like, how did I screw up? I wasn't a good enough mom.
Mm.
I wasn't on it. I should have been watching his homework. I didn't watch his homework. Why wasn't I watching his homework? Because and I was like, whoa,
Mm.
whoa. And I was like, okay, hold on. The reality in this moment is, right, I should have checked. We should be communicating more. You should be communicating with me more. There's a pattern here that we've got to figure out with you in school. And what do you think the best consequence for this is? Because you did lie to me. He goes, I probably shouldn't go to the concert. I'm like, and you should probably pay me back for that. And it was like, and this was a big concert for him. He's like, okay. I'm like, okay, now let's start looking. But here's the best part. It's the day of the concert. I wake up. I'm in bed thinking, oh my God, what have I done? This child just wanted to go to this concert. This is a core memory. This is about him bonding with his friends. Oh my God, I should let him go to the concert. I think he got it. I think he figured it out. I'm spinning. I'm like making my coffee. I'm doing laps around my house. I go for a walk. I'm like, oh my God, well, maybe how do I do this? Maybe what I'll do is I'll say, you can't drive there because he loves to drive there. I'll drive him there and I'll just sit in the parking lot and wait for him during the concert. I'm like, oh my God, woman, you are crazy. What are you doing? What are you doing? So my daughter is 20. I call her. I'm like, Riley, talk me off the cliff. me off the cliff. Here's what's going on. And I described the whole thing to her, right? I'm like, Riley, what is so important to me that I really struggle with, and I've made such a vow to in my life as a parent, is that you and your brother, are happy, that you live a beautiful life, that you have these wonderful moments, and you have these incredible memories. And she goes, and we know that, Mom, and we appreciate it. And here's what I need you to know. We appreciate the fact that you want us to have these wonderful memories of fun events, but you better allow him to have the memory of that. I was like, I get emotional. And she goes, otherwise, like he needs to have that to be able to go out in the world, right? And know those consequences are real. I'm like, thank you. Because
God, I love your
sometimes
daughter.
I know, I know. I was like, I said, us moms, we need reminders, right? And the reminders of who I am as a woman, as a mother, as somebody who's trying the best that I can. I need help sometimes staying on course.
Mm-hmm.
I think we all do. And there's nothing wrong with reaching out to each other. I wouldn't have reached out to my daughter if she was 8, by the way, but reaching out to each other and being like, hey, this is what's going on. Give me some feedback. And it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I love that story. That's so beautiful. And it's so cool that you've created such a space for your children to share that information with you. Because not everybody feels safe doing that.
No, it again, our pendulum can swing. My pendulum swung really far over here,
Mm-hmm.
and it has become such a driver in my life. But I
Mm-hmm.
never want my kids to experience that, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And it's a gift, and there's deficits in all those gifts, right?
Yeah.
And I've got some deficits in there. We can talk about those another time, you know? But I have deficits in this beautiful gift that I give my children and myself. And
Mm-hmm.
again, we can talk about it another time. I think it's just, it's super important. You talked about it in a recent video about the power of that pause. Is it going to hurt or help?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what a good question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
If we can,
And
yeah,
when,
if we can
good.
pause for those moments to ask, is this going to hurt them or help them? Is this going to hurt me or help me? It
Hmm.
allows us to get really clear, like, and aligned with our values of how we want to feel and how we want them to feel. But also, like, like when I ask, is it going to hurt him or help him? And also, is it going to hurt or help me? That puts me back in the equation too. Because a lot of times we're always going external with, is this going to hurt or help somebody else? And we forget to check back in here.
Right, exactly. And that brings us back to you were talking about that particular chapter in our book on love and discipline. And I think, again, people can go authoritative is discipline, permissive is love, you know. And the reality is these sort of need to come together
Mm-hmm.
and not be so rigid because there's consequences are important. Love is always mandatory. And when I say mandatory, it's what our hearts all want and need. But
Mm-hmm.
many of us have lost the narrative on what we say it. I don't know if we put it into action too much enough, which is what our book is based on, is how do we start putting love in action where it goes both ways and it's felt and it creates a stronger foundation. But I want to read a part from our book, and it's the practice of reconnection. And we talk about empathy and what does it look like. And I love this piece, and it goes, discipline and love were never meant to be enemies. I think is what happens here with these parenting styles. We start looking at each other and the way that we're parenting as if we're enemies. We're not. And love without limits can feel chaotic. Sure. Limits without love can feel cold. Together, however, so bring them together, they create something very sacred, which is safety with warmth, guidance with grace. When you hold a boundary with compassion, Your child learns that love can stay steady even through disappointment. Every no offered through love becomes a lesson in trust. Every time you hold firm without losing your kindness, you show them what true authority looks like. It's calm, it's secure, and it's safe. Love doesn't remove boundaries, it redefines them. And love doesn't choose sides, it holds them.
Hmm. That's so beautiful.
I love that.
I do too. There's so many gold nuggets in that book. I was just like reviewing it this morning and I was just like, "Oh god, that's so good. Oh, that's so good too. Oh man, that's so good." So, I mean, I'm just going to do a little promo here and say go get the book. It's only $11. It's an ebook. And there are chapters. I want to just name the chapters for you because there's so many good chapters in there. When they don't listen, when emotions explode, when siblings fight, when screen time becomes a battle, when your child talks back, when they refuse to help or take responsibility, when you're stuck in power struggles, when your child feels anxious or sensitive, and when motivation disappears. And of course, the last one is when you're torn between love and discipline. And oh, they dive into it. They give you repairs to do and practices to do with your children and in your daily life. I mean, it's really phenomenal and kudos to us for making
Mhm.
that.
And I do want to name too the framework that we created, the love framework, is really based on the truth of who we are. And it's based on nature, the ancient way of being with each other that gets us out of our heads and more into how we see each other and how we meet each other. And we drop a lot of the rules from these different paradigms here, patterns, and we just come back to the basics of what we all want, but we're so afraid to name. And
Back to
the
that
ebook,
rhythm, right?
back to the rhythm. And
Mm-hmm.
the book's not all that long. This one was meant to not be that long. It's like little snippets to help remind, like I needed that reminder, right? I needed that reminder. This book to me is, hey, here's a different way of being, and here's what the calling is back to life. And these are little reminders all the time for us parents who've been parenting a certain way for a long time, need to start bringing it in slowly. Because changing our patterns takes time and
Yep.
practice and reminders.
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm still practicing and reminding myself every day. You
Too,
too.
obviously.
Yeah. And that's what life is, right? My son asked me the other day because we were out of school for summer, right? And he was just like, "Oh, good, I can be done learning." And I was like, "Well, honey, we're never done learning." And he's like, "Well, when I'm out of high school, I will be." I was like, "No, like life is about learning all the time. And we're constantly learning about ourselves and about others
Mhm.
for our entire life.
Yeah, and I'm
Hopefully."
going to take us a little bit to the side here, and we can cut this out later. But this is something that is so important. Automatic responders, the automatic things that we say all the time that we're not aware of. One of the ones that I know of, I hear constantly is like, "Oh my gosh, it's Friday. Aren't you glad it's the weekend and there's no more school? Shoot, tomorrow's Monday and you've got to go to school. Oh yay, summer's here, no more school." So, just out of curiosity, what's the unconscious communication we're saying to our children?
Hmm. School sucks.
School sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then when our kids go, "Oh, school sucks," you go, "Why would you say that?" Because you told them.
Hmm.
And it's unconscious. We
Yeah.
have these patterns of communication that our parents had, their parents have. We have with each other when we get together with a group of girls, right? It's just like one of the greatest strategies of changing your home into the values that you said earlier, Kim, is start listening to the things that you say on repeat and pause. And what do you think the perception of your child is going to be in that? And is that
Mm-hmm.
what you're wanting them to receive?
Mm. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I also just want to point out that like those automatic things that we say all the time, it may not even come from your house, you know? Like this is so ingrained in society that oh, school's out for summer, thank God. That like even if in your house we're like, "Yay, school" all the time, they're going to get it from somebody else.
Totally.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. And it's sort of, so we meet reality. That's
Yep.
reality. We're not going to
Yep.
argue with reality. Reality is it true? Yay, summer's here. Yes, that
Yeah.
is very true. Is it
Yeah.
also true? Yay, school's actually fantastic. Yes,
Mhm.
both are true. Again, it's the pendulum, right? But it's not one is better than the other. It's let's stop arguing with reality. Yay, summer's here, and yay, school's great. So, what do we find in the middle when we allow both to be true simultaneously?
Mhm.
That's the practice of this. And again, we have to hear it over and over and over again in order for us to like, oh, yeah, wait, that's what actually always say. Let me bring a little bit of something else into this conversation. Like you
Mhm.
said, dude, we're always learning, and learning is a beautiful thing. It really is. And and it's a blessing to be able to learn all the time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How boring would it be otherwise? And I'm always learning with Kristine, that is for sure.
I'm always learning with you too. That's what,
Yeah.
that's,
That's
I think
partnership
that's,
right there.
and it's partnership. I'm got goosebumps again. Partnership is a big element even of the framework that we're creating here. It is the foundation of, I think, what we both value and the foundation of what we both understand relationship is based on. I can't do all of this. You can't do all of it. We weren't meant to. What we are meant to do is come together again and hold that space with each other to create something larger. I believe that core, to my core. And I believe it more today than ever before because as families, as moms, as women and men, we're pulled in so many different directions today. And we need each other to mirror back the truth. And I've got you. To keep constantly saying to each other, it's okay. And you know what? I got you. And saying that to our children, it's okay. And I got you. You made a mistake, but we
Mhm.
don't hear that enough anymore.
Mhm.
And that's the core to everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It really is. And on that note,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think we will part our ways today, but we will be back on next week talking about
Yes.
more wonderful, wonderful things. And we're going to try to record like a couple next week because I'm going on vacation and I don't
You're
want to
not going on
record.
vacation.
I am.
She's going on her second
That's
honeymoon. It's her
right.
anniversary. Hello.
That's right. 10 years, man.
So
Who
beautiful.
who would have thunk?
Hmm.
Not I.
Something we should talk about one day is marriage
Yeah.
and what we learn about marriage and partnership and bringing this framework in because we all want more connection everywhere.
Oh, yes, we do.
Hmm.
Yes, we do, especially in our
Or
marriages.
especially in our marriages for sure.
Mhm.
All right, Mama.
All right.
Thanks.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.